And there it is. So everybody's sitting comfortably, everybody's muted. Marsha, without more ado, I'd like to turn over to you. You're in charge. Thank you so much.
She's at least on mute.
All right. Hello, everyone on Zoom and there in person. I want to say to all of you in England that although we're not feeling it right now, we know how it is. It has happened here too. Phil and I live in a beachside town, and when I first moved here, they told me that there would only ever be 9 degrees difference in temperature. It would be anywhere between 64 and 72, which that Ken will tell you what that is in centigrade, I'm sure. But it's very mild. It's very mild. And in the last 30 years, it's totally changed. And I have been in this very house when it is almost 40 degrees centigrade, or a little over 100 in our temperature. So I know what it's like, and I hope it's cooling down for you. And can you hear me okay? Oh, good. All right. So I wanted to just start with one poem that is about what it's like to be in the United States of America these days, and because it's very upsetting. So this is a poem that I wrote a few years ago, and I had imagined that maybe things would get better but yet still it keeps unfurling in terms of additional horror. This poem is called Dear America. Dear America, once I took a midnight Greyhound out of Albuquerque in winter. I don't have to tell you that trouble found my house. Dismay and disquiet filed in with me and took a seat. When we pulled into Gallup, the bars were shut tight. The bus station shone in a harsh white light, and security was busy kicking everyone out. Men poured through glass doors, America. Doors a guard held open. They must have been Navajo, those men filled with spirits, and some slung their arms across the shoulders of ruin, and some clung to the waist of gorgeous thirst. They poured into night on unsteady feet. Not one had a ticket to get on the bus. They were cast out. Our idling engine never stopped roaring. Tell me who is lost. That night, a young man turns and tries to re-enter, and he's blocked. The guard is larger. He tries again and is blocked. Slender shoulders and long black hair. Only a boy, after all, barely old enough to be drafted. Nowhere to go, home always a metaphor. And more than his face falls, we see a shape that's not there, his plural self dividing. It must be his soul fallen to the pavement. America, how young I was to believe you were written in a luminous language, words that could stand or fly, I thought, emblazoned on air so gallantly streaming. He's sobbing now in an old man's arms. Can his soul get back up? A wet light from the stars gathers on their faces. The old man looks like he might be singing. Outside, the thermometer's red line drops below freezing. Inside, fetid air and heat. The Greyhound pulls out of the station, and we become the sound of its engine in the dark. And he's left behind, listening to the voice in his ear, that boy who could barely stay in his body, trying not to want so much to die. And the elder holds him up with a song from cracked lips. Tell me, who is lost? I'm an old woman now and can say this. Look to your declarations, America. Do you know how many times you've lied? How many times have your words died? Inside a song, outside a locked door, in the head of any one of your 10,000 flag-waving thugs? Or is it numberless and happens in solitude? One by one and singly, America, you keep dying over and over inside us, and we keep trying, each alone, to bring you back. Thank you. So, thank you. The thing that happened with me is that my father passed away this spring, and we just had his memorial 10 days ago. So most of the poems I'm going to read are that type of poem, poems about my family, my father. And this poem is called My Father Died in the Fullness of Spring. My father died in the fullness of spring as petals began to brown. New buds were forming, but not many. Was it glorious? It was. Our backyard, like an aging showgirl. He nourished himself with light like any other plant. He would raise his chin and close his eyes. He sang snatches of Bing Crosby ballads, could whistle on key. He did not admit that he loved me. I never saw him cry until very late. He could keep it soundless, control his breath, be silent as a tear rolled down his cheek. Then another and another. In this drought, I save every drop for my flowers. Some last only a day. He didn't acknowledge weakness or complain, but over years would not tend himself, body and mind, a forgotten garden. Thank you. And this poem is called Physics After He Leaves, and I actually wrote this one for Ken Jones as he was going to leave the United States and move back here, move back there, and because he was taught physics and he was always going on about the nature of time. This poem is called Physics After He Leaves. And I felt like it could kind of apply to my father too. Physics after he leaves. If hydrogen and oxygen, if liquid, if silver, if the water of my life runs through my fingers, if night is an ocean, if my hands form a hull, if hot young stars consume stellar clouds, if slippage, if enormous, if enigma, if a siren and her song, if darkness, if the calabash nebula packs itself with seeds, if they sow themselves in dust, in swirls, in star fields, if space is a garden and time is a plow, if the line turns, wanders to the river, waters falling still, if not here, then elsewhere, in snake curves of space-time. If only this moment, if only now exists, this is not the end. This is unending. Thank you. The next poem is called "The Afterlife of Flames." You probably don't know, but 5 million acres have, or more than 5 million acres have burnt in the state of California where we live in the last several years. And one time it came very, very close and burnt large parts of this city, the city of Ventura. And I didn't go, to the mountains for months afterwards. But when we were allowed to go and I went, I found this very strange flower growing that I had never seen before, never seen as a wildflower. So I went back home, I took a picture and I went back home and I just looked and looked and looked until I found what it was. And it was called a fire poppy. And the fire poppies, they only grow after a fire. And they only grow because of their seed hulls are made such that they only open when a volatile mixture caused by ash and smoke and water reaches them. So you hardly ever see them. I saw it, it was a miracle. So it's called The Afterlife of Flames. And it also, I think it reminds me a little bit of my father as well. After fire blackens the earth, after a scarf of smoke presses against the womb, the embryo inside its sac, ripe and resting in a chemical sleep, there's no need to abide any longer, no need for the abode, the hut, the hall, the home. Only translation is required to uncoil a long-limbed seed, a pip braiding itself into a child the color of sunset. 4 petals, naked stem, 1 bloom, arching her narrow body over harm. So this poem is about my mom, and I just felt like I couldn't do a whole series of poems and not include one about my mother, although she passed many years back. It's called Sudden Light. If I were a story the wind tells moving in the leaves, it would be sudden light or broken. A heron behind chain link at the settling ponds. Glitter of small movements in the mind. Still water. If I could become moonlight on water, I might be darkness, and eye can train itself to navigate. A heron takes to air in the end. Brokenness is made of breath, blue wash of twilight, a glimmering spread of wings. Like that evening, my mother flew out of herself after they shut off the machine, slipped the last needle, and I whispered, "Mom, you're a hero. No one could have tried harder." Thank you. So this is another poem about my father, and my father worked all the time. He was a workaholic, and he was also part owner of a family business, so he had to, right? And we got to see him sometimes when he would take us with him to work. And so this is about the trip to work. It's called Once. Once, my dad got in the truck and said, "Do you want to see me drive with my niece while I eat breakfast?" No one else was there. He had a knife and fork and a plate of eggs with potatoes, which he wedged onto the steering wheel. I was kneeling sideways to see better and turned to face him. "Yes," I breathed. Off we went while he ate and steered with his knees. Happiness threads itself through time. I still carry it from that day, especially where the road curved, with houses perched on one side only and a steep slope falling away below. Thanks. And this will be my last poem. And it's another one about my dad. And it's called Portrait of My Father, Mise en Scène. And that last mise en scène is French for in the middle of the scene. So this was at his work. And just to tell you what the work was, there was a warehouse. It was full of paint sundries, and they shipped out various paint sundries to smaller hardware stores. And my father had a big room in the middle with a giant table, and he was a glazier and a repairer of stained glass windows for churches. Portrait of my father, Mise en Scène. I don't see him. He's nowhere. He's already set me on a stool at his work table to help, filling 1-ounce bottles of acetone and lacquer thinner from a spigot attached to a 5-gallon can. The liquid clear with poison vapor, or faintly gold and viscous. The bottles march one by one to the spigot, my sticky amber soldiers wheeling abreast, each little man stepping up. The fluid fills them. Dusty skylight above this table, large enough for all the pieces. Glass from Germany, from Belgium, from Italy. The rondelles, the colored glass, milk glass, painted glass, stained glass. Nothing is clean. Shattered roses, violets torn from their vines. I'm alone. He's somewhere out back. He's gone. The ex-cons work the loading dock, picking and packing, stacking boxes on pallets. Grief has kept them lean. Light banks against their work desks. The kind of light that pools when you're going through the motions, when you can't live in the body you're in, but you can make it move. I've been warned not to speak to any of them, not to let my eyes meet theirs. They do not hurry. They bend over their work as if they could fold the past just so, and fit it into a box sealed with strapping tape, as if exile were reverie. Without meeting their eyes, I breathe in their atoms. I breathe in the heat shimmering off the nape of their necks from the small flame always lit of bitterness, which is also called coming to work, also bereavement. The grainy light through the dust and chicken wire pours over my shoulders, over the fissure separating mother from child, shepherd from sheep, Christ from the pain he crouches beneath, all ministered to on my father's grimy table. Thank you very much for letting me read these poems.
Marsha, thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. So that is Marsha. Thank you. Okay, we're going to take just a small break here so that we can go into the cafe and replenish. We've got croissant for pound, and if we could send them to you guys in the States, we would do that right now, or Ireland. I forgot to ask our Zoomers if they wanted to read, so I will come amongst you now and write that down. So if you can let me know, we'll do that right soon.
Thank you for the remembrance of your father, Marsha.
Marsha, it's amazing.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah.
Marsha was so beautiful. And the line about the flower where you said it's braiding, what was it? It's a seed braiding its own future, something like that. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I always love that last one, being at work with your dad. It makes me think about being at work with my dad, which was always amazing.
Special time.
I love that poem too.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Elaine.
They were all amazing. And
Just
thank
quickly,
you for sharing those.
then you guys can chat amongst yourselves. Elaine, read it.
No, not today, Ken, but thank you.
Casa, you?
Yeah, I guess so. Sure.
Cool. Okay. Bonnie?
Yes.
David?
No.
Jamie?
No, I'm not going to be able to stay much longer, but sorry
Thanks,
about that. No, thank you.
Wonderful to see you. Sue?
No, thank you, not today.
Not today, okay. Gudrun? Can't hear you, Gudrun, but is that a no? Jen Kelly, Jen, you're reading, I hope. Is she there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, good. Peg?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yes, please, this end. Who else is there? Jennifer Noisy.
I would like to read, but I don't think I'm gonna have time. I gotta head out at 2:30, so I'll stay and listen.
2:30, are you on the East then?
Yes.
Well, we can get you on first, so we'll put you on, Jennifer. I'm gonna put you on.
Oh, thank you. If that's okay. Thank you.
Of course it's okay. So we'll just have and have I missed anybody who wants to read and you haven't heard from me or I haven't written it down? Okay, I'm assuming that's all good. You can yell at me later.
Okay.
Phil, you're reading, surely. Phil.
I'm also in the situation where I may have to leave before the open mic is over. So I don't want to, I think it's kind of rude when I leave. So I'm going to say that today.
It's not rude at all. We understand this is how it works because this is what time differences do. So look, if I can get you on early and you've got something to read, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll read. Yeah, just letting you know, I don't want to do that.
No, 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 we understand. It's fine.
Okay.
We're understanding here. Marsha, you going to say something? No? I must have missed that. Okay, so I hope everybody's ready. We'll be starting up again very soon, and I'll leave you with flow.
I'd sure like some of those croissants in that cafe right now. Thank you. Oh, they're gorgeous. Oh, how I wish I had one. Thank you, Marsha. Those were beautiful. It's just so hard to write about our parents, and my book actually is a complete book about my father and some about my mom. It's still hard. I don't know, unless you've had a really horrible parent, which unfortunately some people have had, you kind of miss them forever. You know, that loss never goes away.
I really love what you did with light too. All throughout your poems, there's something with the light that is so glorious that you do. The way it lands or the shadows it makes, or it's just, I don't know, it's beautiful.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Marsha, do you know any glaziers in the area?
No,
Marsha?
I don't know any glaciers in the area, Elaine, because I grew up in the Los Angeles area.
Right,
I-
right.
I can tell you that my father had a rule, and that was anyone in the neighborhood never had to pay to have their windows replaced.
What a generous man. What is it?
Are you looking for one?
Yes, I am. I have.
There's
from
one in
my God.
There's one in Santa Barbara.
Oh, can you put it in the chat, Gudrun?
I have to remember, he's my neighbor, but I have to remember what the store is called. I'll find it for you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
I have some stained glass windows from my parents' house. And I had them in the original frame, but the frame is very loose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll get it for you. Can you give me your, why don't you give me your email in the chat? And I
Okay,
can
I'll put it
email
in the
to you.
chat. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat.
Peg, I'm surprised that you didn't want to read. Peg? Can you hear me?
I
Yeah.
said that I did want to read.
Oh,
She
why
is
don't-
reading.
Oh, he's,
Yes,
he
she
got,
did.
okay. Okay, cool. Very
Thank you, though.
Peg, did you say yes, please?
Yes,
Yes.
I did.
I thought that was you.
That yes, please sounded so familiar.
Yes, it did. Yes, please.
Marsha, I really liked your poem about Dear America. I mean, I can't believe what's going on here now. It's really
So
very frightening.
shocking.
It's
Yes.
it's frightening. I mean, are we going to really have another civil war in this country? I mean,
It's
it
so-
no longer sounds like it's a metaphor. I mean, it just it's really scary now. Very scary.
It sounds like it never actually finished in a way.
Yeah, yeah. Except the dividing lines are kind of weird. I mean, is it going to be the two coasts against the middle? I mean, how are we going to do this?
I think the loss of the Supreme Court is the scariest thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Oh,
I
yes.
agree.
I am a firm believer in packing the court. You know, that threat was good enough in the 1930s when they kept knocking down all of the New Deal legislation. until one guy switched. They called it the switch in time that saved 9. I don't see that switch happening, so I really think we have to pack the court. I'm serious.
Okay, guys, in the room, please note the internal camera on the laptop is the camera that is connecting you to the Zoom. So you need to stand around here, the mic will be there, and that camera on the laptop is the one that will put you on the Zoom. So be around here, just be aware.
Good, did you get it? Did you get
I
my
did get
email?
it, thanks. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll look it up afterwards.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I still have Marsha on one side of my screen, so I'm not seeing the podium.
Yeah, okay.
Not that you're not lovely, Marsha.
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay.
Remove spotlight.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, here we go. So here's the podium.
Add spotlight. Now, can I just get a bit of feedback? One from the people on Zoom and two from the people in the room. Hello, can I get some feedback for you in the room? Is it better to have the double? Because I'm thinking the double screen at the moment, everybody who's connected to the Zoom can see a screen for the cafe and a screen for the speaker. Okay, there. So we can either have it that way, or we can have it so that only the remove spotlight, only the speaker is visible to everybody. If that's better, I know that's better for the group. Guys on Zoom, if you can hear me, is that okay for you? Or do you like
I've
to
seen both.
say again?
But I'm a little confused about what you're trying to do. We can see you, we can see Ken, and I can see people behind you. Is that what you wanted?
Doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, okay. Hang
I
on.
think it's nice seeing both screens.
I think so too,
Yeah,
actually.
that's fine. The more the better.
Both screens, Mike.
Okay.
I'd like to see the folks who are in the cafe too.
Okay, so we'll go. And spotlight like that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Mike.
Switch from
Okay, thank you ever so much, everybody. Now, so what we're going to do, we're going to kick off, and we're going to kick off with someone in the room, and we're going to start with Rebecca. You'll see it. No, I don't think so.
Well, you might actually, unless you've got.
Okay, that was, yeah.
Okay, this is quite a long poem, but it's not too long. It's inspired by a place I went to on holiday. It's called Decaying Grandeur, and I've written an introduction, because I think it needs one. This poem is inspired by visiting Chesterton, a Jacobean house in the Cotswolds. For 400 years, the house was owned by the same increasingly impoverished family who became unable to afford to maintain the house. Barbara Cotton-Brooke was the last descendant to inhabit it. She lived mainly on her own with her many cats until the house was taken into the care of the National Trust in 1991. The National Trust decided not to restore the building to its former grandeur, but in its state of decline. This poem imagines Chesterton at the time Barbara was living there. This Jacobean house is feeling its age. Spiders have woven their grey-haired nets over elaborate bulging ceilings. Unstable walls crack. A fine carpet of ash, like tiny feathers, sits on the paneling, library books, and on the carved wooden staircase. Blue has faded to grey and gold to ochre on the ancient tapestries. Bats nest under the eaves and under the broken roof, folded umbrella wings over furry heads. Patterned carpets are worn through, threadbare from endless footsteps. So many stories lurk down centuries, 400 years from backing the Lewis inside the Royalists in the Civil War till now. A past family of inventors, from pioneering in photography to the rules of croquet. Counters, marbles, playing cards, and shuttlecocks hide in the long gallery. But the gentle sound of wood on wood is no longer heard in the overgrown garden. Barbara, the last inhabitant, has moved tapestries to her bedroom in an attempt to keep up drafts. A pool of milk sits on the floorboards for her 20 cats who hunt mice and bask in summer sun. Sunlight slants through her windows, but so feels as cold, sneaking through Cotswold stone into the large rooms, cool as caves. Under her sheets and blankets, a big bright hot water bottle is hard. Warm. I can't go on like this, I know. I must give up this house and go.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was very hard. Unfortunately, it was, Ken, it was very hard to hear her on Zoom, very hard.
We will move the microphone.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry, you were right.
I just think I think whoever's speaking should hold the mic close to
So
them.
next up, Jennifer, you have to leave in 10 minutes, I think. So if you can come and read now, that would be great. Jennifer?
Yes, thank you so much. I'll be reading a piece from a new book titled Things. I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat. I'll try to stay on a little bit past because I love hearing poetry. I love hearing everyone. But if not, I might get fired. So, so I'll read my piece. Here goes. When saying sorry isn't enough, when apologies don't cover the bills, when hunger strikes the belly, your sorry won't feed me. When the memories flood back of the pain and mistrust, your sorry won't erase from my mind. Keep the sorry, show me the regret. Keep the sorry, show me the fear. Keep the sorry, show me the understanding. Tie together the comprehension of the life you tattered. How you closed my eyes and placed rocks on the lids while the mental pictures play over and over. How my body, tiny and frightened, tight under overgrown hands, feasting on a meal of innocence. How the sweet taste of fresh honey and snow white milk lulled you into a trance of rhythm and movement that wasn't made aware to young eyes. How you went about your day and never had a thought about the pain you caused as you kept coming back to the hive of my nectars over and over and over. So tell me, where was the sorry in your dance of repetition? So now that the empty phrase, I'm sorry, decided to bubble from your mouth after your body won't function, after the sins have caught up, after the fun was less. So now is when I finally get that apology that the old me wanted, that the young me needed to feel, to be free of a weighted guilt of another, to bury the anxiety that creeps to my today, day after day, of the possibility of the next illicit interaction. So now is when you've come to say, I'm sorry for stealing my piece of peace now and forever, and I can't give it back, but to you, the sorry is enough. You think but a little bit. You think that your sorry has that much power to change the marble of a body that you've chiseled away, but then I came to sand the scars away and create a masterpiece, an artist. I am Michelangelo of aggression, a Picasso of pain. So when you come to feed me a sorry, regardless of the intention, remember, I don't eat, I'm sorry, no more. Thank you so much.
So much. Thank you for joining. Next up, Phil, if you're still here, I know you've got to go, so if you want to you're able to come on now, that would be brilliant.
I'm here. There I am. Okay, sorry again about leaving that I have to. I'm going to read a poem about, it's a bit about a band called the Throwing Muses, which was around in the 90s. It was a really good band that went nowhere, which happens a lot with really good bands. And so this one is called See My Name. And it's got an epigraph by the Throwing Muses, graffiti. See my name on the wall. The real Ramona still speaks to me, all these years later, floats through my obsessive head. Suppose something to do with age, impermanence, scratching words into collective tribe experience that soon disappear. Should have been is what is said of the muses these days. They dissimulate. Two sisters drift apart, not too soon. Watching my work, words slip away. They may even depart while I'm here. Quality truth doesn't play into it. Sometimes it's just the hook in her head. This music sits fine with me, but I am old. I throw an egg at this wall. I watch it break and slide. See my name on the wall.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're coming back in the room now for a reader, and I think we'll go to Anna. Facing that. Tumor.
Hi, people and real life people. I was rereading a poem called Twilight. The crime is invisible to all but me. No corpse, no clues, no weapon but foul word.
Can't hear.
You say you can't hear, sorry.
We can't hear you.
Is the mic actually on?
Yeah, the mic's on. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, take two. Can you hear me now? Is that right? Yeah. Yeah? No?
It's the second asking for the thumbs up.
Okay. Can you be a thumbs up if you can hear me?
No.
Can you step a little closer to the camera, maybe?
No, no,
That's the mic.
Yes,
It's on. Guys, you can hear me, right?
Why does it feel very
Hang on,
quiet?
just a minute.
Ken, we can hear you because you're loud.
I said I was loud. Who said that? Who said that?
Are you sure you're not using those computer audio?
No, we're using the mic.
no, we're not. Hang on.
Oh.
Which one is it? USB.
USB.
audio?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there you go.
Just do a few tests.
Okay, can everyone hear me now?
Yay!
Yay!
And you said they weren't real people.
Okay, take two. This is a poem I wrote called Twilight. The crime's invisible to all but me. No corpse, no clues, no weapon but foul words, proclaiming coarse half-truths that abrade my being. On my knees I beg of you, please take this pain, return my worth. Kiss me at twilight till we melt into one, the breath of the evening heavy around us, then board up the windows to my soul with the thickest silence. Make heavy my eyes, let them see only an image of you, where mist ensnares any emotion that begs and pleads to show itself. Entrap my mind, shackle my senses, my sense of truth. My brain a vessel to hold your meaningless words, a train crawling achingly along its tracks, its destination a fortress forged by you, designed by you, to cushion me from an unforgiving planet. This is what I wanted. Is this what I wanted? All I know is you. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you very much. Okay, well, again, apologies to you on Zoom if you weren't able to hear up until now. So we're going to stay in the room, and we're going to invite, I think, Christine next. Christine. You look at that.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. This was written after a day in Bath in Somerset, and I've called it Under Surveillance, Teamwork. We see the couple in Northumberland Passage, on the left by the silversmiths. In a pale blue coat, she's smiling up into his face. Our coffee's ordered. I look again. Now they're by the jeweller's on the right. Do you think they're about to buy a ring? I ask my husband. Well, he's stroking her hair, he says. And he is. She is small, fair, in her 20s. He's tall, a little older, wearing a soppy expression. The Spanish family at the next table are squabbling and laughing, and I lose sight of the pair. They're in the shop now, says my husband.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much. We'll have one more in the room, and then we'll go back onto Zoom. So within the room, we have Dawn. It's you. Here she comes. It's a big room. Take her a while. She's running now.
I'm going to read a poem by Charlotte Bronte, and it's called Life. Life, believe, is not a dream, so dark as sages say. Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom, but these are transient all. If the shower will make the roses bloom, oh, why lament its fall? Rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by. Gratefully, cheerily, enjoy them as they fly. What though death at times steps in and calls our best away? What though sorrow seems to win or hope a heavy sway? Yet hope again elastic springs, unconquered though she fell. Still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear as well. Manfully, fearlessly, the day of trial bear, for gloriously, victoriously, can courage quell despair.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so much, Dawn. And we'll go now to Zoom again. And I'd love to welcome Peg. Long time no see. Peg.
Thank you. My poem is very short. It's one sentence. It's titled Saturday Symphony. A startled burst of blackbirds exploded from a telephone pole in disarray, then quickly rearranged in flight, synchronized to look just like the 9 black notes that open Beethoven's Symphony in C. Thank you.
Right, Peg. Thank you, Peg. You were too quick. We couldn't get you on the screen.
Oh,
Mike couldn't see you. Mike couldn't find you. So can we ask you please to go again?
I would be very happy to read again. This is one sentence. It's very short.
Hang on.
Saturday
Mike is
Symphony.
right, you're there. Go.
We okay? Saturday Symphony. A startled burst of blackbirds exploded from a telephone pole in disarray, then quickly rearranged in flight, synchronized to look just like the 9 black notes that open Beethoven's Symphony in C. Thank you.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Peg.
Yes, and while I'm here, can I say, Christine, I'm in admiration of your red dress.
Okay, the The details for online shopping that dress will be winging their way to you, Peg, very soon.
Thank you.
Yes, at no extra cost, by the way. Now we're coming back into the room and we will call on, I think we'll call on Rosie. Oh, here she is.
Hi. Oh, hi. I don't have a very interesting introduction, so the title is just I Am No Angel. I am no angel, no ethereal, heavenly being, yet a throne I am placed upon, unable to glimpse at what you are seeing. I am no angel, poisonous snakes of the past, my wings were clipped, down I fell, into your arms at last. I am no angel, stanzas struggle to set you free, are poems really enough for you, are words all my feelings can be? I am no angel, sinful lips struggle to shake the taste, silhouette in moonlit nights, secrets to have us disgraced. I am no angel, keeping you all for my own, a selfish sense of infatuation, corruption carved into stone. I am no angel, though I feel my heaven in you. My love, though I am no angel, do you see heaven in me too?
Yay, well done. Thank you, Rosie. And that's Rosie's first time reading here, so well done. Thank you. Okay, we're going back onto Zoom now and we'll call on Bonnie, please.
Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Just hang on a second while Mike gets you on screen, which he'll do any minute now. You're on.
Yeah.
Okay, Bonnie.
Okay, Emma, can you hear me? Or am I on mute? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so I'd just like to read a little bit from my book, which just came out, my book called Love Abe, a Jewish GI's World War II Letters Home. It's basically a World War II memoir, and I based it on the over 800 letters that my mother gave me back in 2003. Before that, I had no idea they even existed. It was their World War II correspondence while my dad served in an anti-aircraft battalion. And the little bit I'm going to read now is the time period when my dad first landed overseas. He got his ship landed in England, and then he got sent to Scotland. So it's just his early impressions of what he saw in England. And again, he had never really traveled. He was a poor New York City kid. And so these are his immediate impressions of what it felt like when he landed there. Yeah, and the whole time they were under military secrecy, so he didn't even know exactly where he was headed, and my mom certainly didn't know either. The chapter is called The British Isles. It was also, they were not allowed to say exactly where they were. So the British Isles was what he first said. On January 7th, 1945, Dad was finally able to inform Mom that he had landed safely, writing England across the top of his first letter in order to let her know his general location. After a few days, he was moved and wrote that he was stationed, quote, somewhere in the British Isles, and that his barracks were located on the grounds of an old estate with a large main building of, quote, antique architecture and many towers and chimneys and, quote, God knows how many rooms. Although Dad could not say exactly where he was, I know from later conversations that he was in Paisley, Scotland at the time. In his letters, he was able to describe the general landscape, telling Mom that everything was on a much smaller scale than in the States. Little neat farms, small houses, narrow roads, small autos and railroads. He said it looked like, quote, Greenwich Village on a large scale set in a New England background with a, quote, very nice and polite people. At intersections, he could imagine he saw a, quote, toy policeman in a brightly lit uniform spring out of a box and start directing traffic with mechanical gestures like a musical comedy. Army literature explained the differences between American and British cultures. They, and in paren I have, they are, quote, reserved to cover up a natural shyness, and described how much the population had suffered during 5.5 years of war. During orientation lectures, Dad's unit learned how deeply the British had been affected by the heavy rationing and scarcity of goods, but they were cautioned, quote, they are a proud people and don't seek anyone's sympathy. The men changed their money into British currency, And Dad was amused when he heard his buddies shooting craps saying, quote, shoot a shilling or 6 pence. He also described how people drove on the left, took baths instead of showers, and spoke in a quaint manner. Although he was not able to tell Mom his exact locations, he was allowed to describe his experience on his first pass. He praised the American Red Cross because if it wasn't for them, I'd feel lost, and that goes for most of us. They are the liaison between yourself and the natives. At their facility, he took a hot shower and slept between clean sheets. He saw a beautiful municipal building with an interior of, quote, solid inlaid marble, stained glass windows, and giant chandeliers suspended by great chains from the lofty ceiling. Mom could deduce from a letter he wrote on January 19th that he had probably helped transport wounded soldiers, although all he could tell her was he could be a whole lot worse off than I am now. Even so, he found the war news on all fronts encouraging and was hopeful the war would be over by the summer. The Battle of the Bulge had been won, the Russians were continuing to advance in the east, and the Allies were making progress in the Pacific. At one point, Dad told Mom he had wrapped her photo in cellophane because, quote, I expect to put it up in some of the muddiest foxholes of this continent. That hint about his location made it past the censor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. We're going to alternate now back and forth. So we're back in the room now, and it's Fliss. Oh, do be ready.
Hello.
If you're here and you want to read to the room, you can read to the room and the camera will still pick you up. Don't think you're standing in the speaker's spot, which will be here. This is our first time in this space doing this, so we're ironing out these teething problems. Thank you all for doing that. But if you want to perform to the room, which might feel more natural to the speaker here, you can stand in this spot, and I think that
Mike, the director.
So, hello, hi. I've got a poem that I read a couple of years ago now called The Popcorn Tree. And I have made an attempt to remember it, but I don't trust my memory. So I'm just going to sort of give it a go, maybe. Popcorn Tree. Pre-dawn on Hart's Farm marshes. Grey sea, grey sky, grey me. I see a woman with a barrow spreading popcorn beneath a tree. Her clothes in holes and gaffer tape, patching up her boots. She gathers armfuls of the stuff and aims it at the roots. I'm woebegone and Raggedy Ann, she says. It's no good. I'm woebegone and Raggedy Ann, she says, and presses her cheek against the bark. Please send me wealth. Let fortune fall and light this dreadful dark. Low and wet lie the fields on the marshes. High and wide is the song of the sea. Not a thing to obscure the horizon between the tree and the woman and me. Well, at first I thought the woman mad and felt inclined to scorn her rapt embrace, her desperate prayer, her eiderdown of corn. But then I thought, I too am poor, my pockets full of fluff. Her prayer might work, you never know. I've heard of stranger stuff. So hello, I cried, and she replied, hello, as strangers do. And I moved closer to the listening tree. Please send me wealth, please do. Low and wet lie the fields on the marshes. High and wide is the song of the sea. Not a thing to obscure the horizon between the tree and the woman and me. Minutes passed and we remained whispering wealth to the listening tree till the words became like a heartbeat weird accompaniment to the sea. And slowly the world was forming, gaining color and shape as we spoke, until the bright sun split the horizon and wealth, wealth pulsed the heart of the oak. Wealth, wealth beat the wings of the seabirds. Wealth, wealth sang the breeze in the yellow grass beneath the benevolent one. Wide and high is the sky on the marshes, and quiet now the woman and I, knowing there is no gold in the heart of the oak, because the gold's all up in the sky.
Thank you, Fliss. Thank you so much. So we're back on Zoom now, and grateful that she's bookmarked us. Jen, you're on.
All right. Let me just. I know I set an alarm and everything this morning, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay. This is a tad long, but not super long. I read it last Thursday, but I didn't do it very well, so I'm going to try again. It's called Belted In. The cold leather of the car brake in your delicate hand. Older sister's voice. Just like that, Jenny. Only this time there's someone in the passenger seat, not to stunt you, but to protect you from this stunt. Just push the shiny button on the end, Jen. Just ease it down. Just as Rhonda's dad rounds the corner in his truck, just as we ease into the street. You and me, little one, in our rainbow bright shirts. Just you and me, my child, the invincible ones. And when Bob slams on the brake, just barely missing the back seat, when the smell of sickly sour rubber lays into the street, your petite heart pattered, little blue eyes wide, sister nowhere to be seen. And when Bob went in, his face was red, and when Papa came out, his face was white. Speckled Irish fingers tight around your wrists. I tried to pull you away. I tried to stuff my fist into Bob's mouth, give him something except accusations to choke on. The swollen, reddening cheeks of Papa, no words to me, no eye contact. I'll take care of it, to Bob. Deep, long stare from the neighbor and a muttered, "You'd better." Neither my empathy nor my memory can soften what came next. The face in the streets. I'm sorry. Face in the sheets on Mom's side of the bed. Strip of a belt cutting into your rump. Your small voice made big with pain. He didn't stop. I'm so sorry he didn't stop. It would be easier if he was all afraid. But no, some of it was shame, embarrassment, that his special little girl had betrayed him, while sister hammered on the locked door from the hall. It was big girl pain in your little girl body, my eyes wet at your gaping mouthed expression, at your indrawn and quickened breath. I ran a hand through your matted tomboy hair. I'm here, my girl. This was what he needed from you that day. This is how he needed you to make it through. And though it's easy to blame, it's harder to explain. I want you 2 steps away from that bed now. I want you 2 steps away with cheeks wet and red. I want you to look down where the belt swings, the one you've taken to yourself, because Papa was always right, and maybe you deserve to be punished after all. Look into your 3-year-old face, all the swollen down tears, all the promises to be, to just be, to be better, and know that your own innocence, and know your own tenderness, where I rock you to sleep. Thanks.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much. I know I said we were going to alternate, but I think we'll take Kaza from Zoom as well. Karen, you're on.
Okay, that's a hard act to follow, Jen. Wow. Sorry. And also, Marsha, just what a stellar reading. I know you are a great poet, but boy, today was just blew me out of the water. I mean, just beautiful. I'm inspired by Peg's poem. Mine is a little bit longer, but it's also about some birds. And it takes place in December, where you can imagine some colder weather maybe, and it's a rainy day. So maybe that will also help. The heat and the drought so many of us are experiencing. It's called Just for Me. On a quiet Sunday morning, I inspect our tranquil street through opened blinds, grateful this December day for watery scene outside. Yesterday's bountiful rain softer, night's black brightened to gray, grass green, wet and soggy. Mottled silver and white birch tree spreads out its dripping bareness. On uppermost bending branches, more wide than tall, a few little brown birds sit evenly spaced. Soon joined by more lined in a row, flicking wings to bathe themselves. I count them 1 through 8, like the flickering flames from candles held by our menorah on the last night of Hanukkah, my very own Hanukkah at my window. 1 for each night, they spread a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. Comes to mind, a song about the miracle of faith and the 8 candles we will light tonight. I watched spellbound for a time, then slowly turned to call my husband. When I look again, like Hanukkah candles burned down, they have all disappeared. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I was going to say, talking about rain in Southern California is a bit, that really is creative writing. But I have to tell you that the day Denny and I flew in this summer, there was a hailstorm in Camarillo. So make of that what you will. Okay,
You know what, Ken? We got to figure out a way to save whatever precipitation we get. I wonder how long it'll take them to figure that one out.
Yes, you do. There's a thing called desal. I don't know if they've heard of it south of Santa Barbara, but, maybe that'll work. Okay, back in the room. Who am I calling? I've forgotten. Piers, thank you. Piers, it's you.
Hello, can you all hear me? Right. I'm reading from a rather long poem called Morelia. It takes the life of a girl from the time she was born to the time she dies, and she dies in her late teens. Now I've spoilt it for you. I read the first 2 chapters last time, so I just have to remind you quickly. My birth, my mother's distress, the cesarean section, twins. My brother and I have never been separated. There was an operation, but that was on my heart. I was a blue baby. I've had to struggle to keep up. He's the athlete, tall and straight. I'm not a cripple. I've got 2 legs, but one shorter than the other, that's all. So she's now about 4 or 5, and she's gone to primary school. And this is called In the Playground. Why do you walk like that? Craig asked. His friends giggled. I've got a stone in my shoe, I lied. But they didn't go away. They kept on about my limp. I slapped the big bully. He hit me back. Rick jumped on him. They rolled in the dirt. Alec went to help Craig. I kicked him on the shin and he fell over. Teacher was cross. I had to kick him because he was going to hurt Rick, I explained. She didn't seem to understand. Okay, on to chapter 4. I don't do games. I'm athletic, but I don't play hockey or lacrosse. I don't do gym. Mum arranged me to have piano lessons when the others had gym. On Wednesday afternoons, when others played games, I went riding. The teasing didn't stop. Being special probably made it worse, but I like my music and my riding lessons. I like to show off. School concerts were great. Gymkhanas were even greater. Thank you.
Thank you, Piers. I always said you were special, Piers. Okay, Sue, and you can probably lead from there into the final thing. Sue, you're up. You're going to read. Aren't you going to read, you said? Blimey, you can't get the help, can you?
Ken, are you reading?
I was thinking of a completely different thing.
Sorry, hang on. No, we have a surprise at the very end. After Sue has read, the 5 of us are going to do a thing. What Sue has wrote, so she will introduce it after she's read.
I will. Hello, Zoom friends. Hello, room friends. This is a poem called Dear Friends, which actually is quite appropriate. I'm sitting on a shaded bench with dappled glints of emerald green, long grasses wilt and bend in breeze, an idyllic landscape scene. All overgrown and lushly loved, untended and flowing free. And mass clumps of wild wanton flowers are waving their welcome to me. The leafy fronds are calm and soothing. Here I can forget, just for a while, that the world has turned topsy-turvy, and I will take time and remember my smile. Oh, I just glimpsed a great bird of prey, majestic, so high in the sky. He swoops, he soars, and then circles round and around, then dives to earth in a blink of an eye. The wind brings sweet, fragrant memories on honeysuckled breath of fresh air. I slip down through thought, nearly lose myself, startled back by some inquisitive deer. The butterflies are all dirty dancing as the sun sinks and sets just a bit. It's a small, subtle change, this life rearrange, and I find myself softly backlit. So I'll go home now. It's been such a magical day. I've been blessed with Earth's natural wealth. My soul has replenished and froth full again. And I raise a glass to your continued good health. The green spaces I've craved, acre on, throbbing with life, but serene. I'm most grateful for these treasured gardens and send love sitting here in Westdean. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sue. Right, everybody, we're going to try and do something we've not done before. So this is the last thing we're going to do. So there's 5 of us are going to be involved in this. So we're going to try and cluster around the camera and cluster around the mic, and we hope you'll be able to both see us and hear us. You know, I'm like, if you can't, tough rocks, but we'll do the best we can. So just bear with us while we set this up so that we can get the best, whatever we can get.
Well, it won't make a difference either way. So can you just all sit in your stools? Yeah. So,
Oh. No.
what it is, we've all got ours. What do you mean you don't know that first position to?
No.
Why? What's your first line?
Do you have a question?
You probably better not have. Right, okay. So, performers.
Yes, do.
Okay,
It's a rehearsal,
no.
isn't it?
The sound is there. Yes. Okay, so we'll just say to those on Zoom, you might not actually catch every word of this, but we'll apologize for that in advance. But hopefully everybody in the room, you will. So Sue, it's over to you.
This is a little playlet entitled Recycle, Renew and Rebirth. And set the scene, the Words Out Loud team are rehearsing for a little show called Recycle, Renew and Rebirth. So over to you.
When you put the whole thing together, recycling is the right thing to do.
Recycle the present, save the future.
We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children.
Okay, good. Now use your scripts for the next part, but you're going to need a lot more energy. Okay, just a lot more energy. Nigel?
Just checking the temperature.
So, places from the top.
Mike, I've got a question.
Well, let's just crack on, shall we? We have 3 more rehearsals. 3.
Mike, heat is becoming a health and safety issue.
Climate change. Yes, climate change. It's terrible. My friend says that.
And Q. Sarah?
Sorry.
And Q, start from the top. And action.
Welcome to this little segment show entitled Recycle, Renew and Rebirth. We're here today as Words Out Loud to remind you all we've got to save our earth.
We haven't much time to do it. A bit last minute, well, very late. We must make a bit more effort, not leave it all to fate.
Sorry, Mike, I've got a question.
What?
Who's that?
Who?
Him, he just wandered in.
Ken, leave it all to fate. That's your cue.
Do you really think I should not pretend that I don't know who he is? I mean, I'm not sure it's very believable.
Let's just stick to the script, shall we, for now? Ken!
What? Have I missed something?
Yes, your cue.
Oh, well, I'm here now, keen and ready to go.
Okay, and...
sorry, Mike, I've got a question.
What?
Who's that?
Who?
Him who just wandered in.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, this is a closed rehearsal. This is the performance stage.
I'm looking for Jay.
Not one of us, I'm afraid. Try the pub over the road.
There's a pub? Cool drink, anybody?
Concentrate, Nigel. Right, let's go from the poetical extracts on Rebirth. That's page 7, I think. Okay, Denny. Recycle, renew, rebirth is the subject, and your motivation is life. Life. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. I'm sorry, it's Shakespearean quotation urge syndrome. I've suffered ever since I went to drama school.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but am I in the right place? Is this the repair shop?
No, this is Words Out Loud rehearsal at WAGTAIL Coffee and Yoga.
I was told it was the repair shop. I brought something very precious with an interesting backstory.
Well, the repair shop is filmed at the Wilden Down and Living Museum.
Oh, I love that program. So do I.
But I don't think they're shooting it at the moment. I expect you'll find the dates online.
I quite fancy Will. He's really got something.
It's really too hot to want time to discussing a TV show.
In certain lights.
Well, I'm sorry, but it is rather urgent.
Try tourist information. Out there, turn right and ask for directions to the Novium Museum. So, right, gather, focus. Where were we?
Opening positions, my line.
Can I ask, is anybody even slightly off book yet?
Nearly. I've got a question about how much off the book do we really actually need to be?
Completely.
Oh.
Excuse me. You are doing recycle, rebirth, and renew?
Yes.
So I am in the right place. I've got something very precious that urgently needs renewing, recycling, and rebirthing. This. It's an ancient family heirloom. Actually, there's a Cree Indian prophecy. Only after the last tree has been cut down, only after the last river has been poisoned, only after the last fish has been caught, only then will you find that money cannot be eaten.
That's not in the script.
You stick to the script, Ken.
It just felt like it needed a little something extra.
You always say that. More lines, more like.
I say it because it's true.
It's too hot to improvise.
It's too hot to do anything much.
I feel like an oven-baked potato infused with solar light. I'm getting so uncomfortable. My jacket far too tight.
Well, let's just skip to the finale, shall we?
Page 39, I've got a question.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the heart to suffer, or the mind rather, to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It seems to get worse in the heat.
That's not in the script either.
I think it worked. We just need that little bit extra to be a bit more words out loud.
Darling, give it a rest.
So it's the finale. Everyone's on stage. It's a future sometime. And we're finally making positive difference. And the world is
Recycled. Renewed.
Reborn.
Repaired? Fat chance.
Stick to the script.
Well, I wouldn't bet on it, would you? I'm just being realistic. Even the repair shop can't work miracles.
They can repair practically anything.
That's television, not real life.
We just all need a positive mental attitude.
Expertise and craftsmanship. That's very important. Or a good backstory. A goal with a clock ticking down.
And a challenge to get our teeth into.
Exactly, we've got it all.
Not a very scientifically proven approach, though, is it?
No, but it's a plan and it's better than nothing.
Recycle, rebirth, and renew. It's just what we've all got to do. Let's get on with the job, else it's our children we rob.
Quite right, but we still haven't a clue.
Recycle, renew, and rebirth. It's dependent on us, Mother Earth.
No, she'll always be fine. We'll mature like vintage red wine. The question is, will life as we know it have
Recycle, rebirth, and renew. It's time to get on and just do. And let's enjoy what we've got, because we've got quite a lot. It's worth saying. Now it's over to you.
Good. Applause, applause, applause. Milk it, milk it, milk it. And that's it, pretty much. Right. Well, that's a wrap, everybody. Good work. It's finally getting there.
I've got a question on page 5. How are we staging it?
Staging it? Oh, it's staging it.
Quick, get him a glass of water.
No, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't resist. I'm so sorry. The urge, it's too strong. I mean, all the world's a stage. And all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances.
Hold on, Mike. Hold on. We've got this. Ken.
And one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewing and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school.
And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow.
Then a soldier, full of strange oaths, and bearded like the past, jealous in honor, sudden and quicking quarrel, seeking a double reputation, even in the cannon's mouth.
And then the justice, in fair round belly with good cape unlined, with eyes severe and beard of normal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part.
Sorry.
And then the 6th age shifts to the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved a world too wide for his shrank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in
Last
sound.
scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. That was William Shakespeare, and this is Words Out Loud. Looking forward to seeing, and more importantly, hearing some of yours and others' words aloud at an event near you soon.
Recycle, rebirth, and renew. It's not too late. We know what to do. Let's enjoy what we've got, because we've got quite a lot. And start now, because it's our final last cue.
Start now. It's our final cue.
Exit stage left, pursued by bear.
Can someone please get him a glass of water?
Yes!
Okay, well done. If you're still with us, thank God. Well done. You've got great staying power. We love you all. Marsha, we love you. I thank you so much for joining us and sharing your words with us. They really are special. You're a special person, as are all of you who've been here tonight in person and who've been with us on Zoom. Please remember, next month in August, we have another reader. The reader will be Jeffrey Winch, who is a local poet. And I know you'll have a wonderful time listening to him. So please join us in your multitudes. In the meantime, we'll be here in person on August, whatever it is, 3rd, I think it is, the first Wednesday in August. And I'm not sure, Christine, is there do you know if there's a New Park reading on the 27th? Nobody knows, Piers, you know? Nobody knows. So we're What's Happening, and be with us. Thank you so much. Take good care.
Thank you,
we love
Ken.
you.
Thank you,
See you
Ken.
soon.
Stay
Bye.
cool.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ken.
Ken.
But I could not hear your play.
Oh,
Thanks,
Elaine.
everyone.
We're sorry. It's the microphone. We need more gain on the mic, I think, but
Yeah.
we're sorry. We did the best we could do.
Most of it. I heard most of it.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Well, some
Yeah.
and,
No,
and
I
most
think-
most of it is probably what you
Can
need.
listen, can I make a suggestion? Why don't you just take the mic and pass it from person to person? Then we could have heard everybody.
Well, then we'd have forgotten our lines and it wouldn't have been dynamic.
Well,
and,
how
you
about a
know,
little
we could have done
rehearsing
that.
first?
All right. Well,
Oh,
we
heard
do
most of it. We heard
intend
most
we
of
do
it.
intend to do it as a podcast. So if we manage to get it as a podcast, we'll podcast it. We'll send it out to anybody that's interested in receiving it.
Oh, hey, Ken. Hey, Ken.
Yes.
Do you have
Elaine.
it- Do you have it all in print, in a PDF file, or is that too cumbersome?
The scripts, yeah, the script's in a PDF, but we did change it slightly from its original writing, so it's not in its original in the form that it was tonight. As I say, we're going to try and do it as a podcast, and we'll share that, Elaine. I think that's what we'll do. We'll put it on the website, our website.
Okay. Yeah, that would be fine because then I could read it. Yeah.
But that was a lot of
You
fun.
could.
Thanks for the effort. It was really,
It was
really
a lot of fun for everybody. Thank you so much. It was lovely to see you all. Take
Lovely to
care.
see
Have a
you.
good day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.